We're live.
What's up, everybody? This is Alex Kelly back here with another episode of the Furloughed Film Talks podcast. Here with my brother Ryan.
What's up, everybody?
We are here on Tuesday for episode 91. We are just chugging along. So we are very excited for this one. This is a special one. We've got a special guest.
It froze there for a minute. Okay, we're good.
We've got a special guest today.
We have a special guest?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah!
Hey,
okay. The Water Room!
Yes, we are joined by the director of the short film that was nominated for Best Short Film Live Action at the Oscars.
Yep.
Stars Oscar Isaacs. We are going to be talking with Elvira Lind here in a little bit. We will premiere that talk. That was super awesome of her to join. Great conversation. So really excited to put that out. So we'll put that here in a little bit. We will also review a movie that's been out for a little while, starring Bob Odenkirk, titled Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that Sunday night.
Yes.
That movie was nuts. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. But we did this episode a day late. Thank God we did, because a huge story broke from the Hollywood Reporter this morning.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Concerning. That's the word I was looking for. Ray Fisher, star of Justice League, who played Cyborg in the Justice League and the Zack Snyder Justice League.
He was the same.
He was one and the same.
Yeah.
But vastly different in both movies. So.
Carry on.
But anyways, so
just real fast, have you seen the trailer that came out today for Batman: The Long Halloween?
I saw it came out. I haven't watched it yet. What'd you think?
Looks cool. I'm excited for it.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Back to this news that dropped. They did a lengthy expose with Ray Fisher about everything that he had kind of said had gone on the set of Justice League back in like 2015, 2016, and kind of chronicled how they investigated everything. And there's a lot of very juicy deets in this piece from the Hollywood Reporter. Ryan, did you actually get a chance to walk through and read the whole thing?
So the only thing I've seen on this is what you retweeted.
Okay, so
I did not read like the article or anything.
The Joss Whedon article? Or the Joss Whedon Gal Gadot piece is what you saw? Okay,
I read that. I saw that bit. And I think I saw something else that quoted Ray Fisher, just like a short snippet in a tweet, but that's all.
Okay. So
I haven't seen most of it, I think.
I read through all of it earlier today because I saw it drop and I was like, oh shit, and people were losing their minds. But by far, the biggest bombshell was what you saw, to me at least. I don't get how this happens on a set and nobody like says anything until now.
I have a feeling this kind of happens I don't know.
But anyway, so what happened was Joss Whedon threatened to harm Gal Gadot's career on Justice League and disparaged Patty Jenkins. One witness saying, Joss told Gal he's the writer, she's going to shut up and say the lines, and he can make her look incredibly stupid in this movie. I'm sorry. Was this before or after Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman hadn't come out at this point, right?
Joss Whedon's Justice League? It was before Wonder Woman, for sure.
Okay, so I guess they didn't have the commercial success of Wonder Woman yet.
Right? No.
I'm really...
Because, so Wonder Woman
was 2017. So this was...
Yeah, it came out early 2017. And then when did Justice League come out later in 2017? I think that was
2017. Yeah, okay. So that would have been November. So,
right. It was November 2017.
This was June 2nd, 2017.
Yes, because it was Batman vs. Superman, then Wonder Woman, then Justice League.
My point being, when they would have been on set for this, Wonder Woman would not have come out yet. So maybe they wouldn't have had the commercial success around it.
Yeah, right. Probably not.
So but that's when I read that, I was like, how in the hell do you how does all these people hear him basically say to one of the stars of the movie and the one who's leading up what was one of your best like DC movies. Like basically tell her, hey, I'm gonna make you look incredibly stupid in this movie if you don't like fall in line.
Right.
That's a really toxic thing to like be said.
Okay, but I mean,
I do not think this happens on a lot of movies.
no. I don't think it happens on a lot of movie sets either. But to say that this is an unusual occurrence for like directors to get heated and say super toxic things on set to actresses, like this, it doesn't happen often, but I'm sure it happens like a good amount in the industry. Like we know for sure, like we always hear of these outbursts of like actors, going off on cast members,
crazy shit.
like for sure directors, it's even
I don't know.
it's far worse that it's Josh Whedon and it's after like this is just another round of like dirt coming out about Josh Whedon about how he treated the actors like really poorly and was just a like general dick.
Yeah.
So
well, and then that's another part of this that's really interesting. So you say he acted like a general dick to these actors, and we've gotten evidence that he was a dick on like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, he's just generally not a great
Justice League
human being. Like
one of the parts of this that I thought was very interesting was he had a call with Ray Fisher, and Ray Fisher was kind of talking about the character of Cyborg. And he maybe had, from what this article said, was he had just kind of started talking, and then all of a sudden Joss Whedon like cut him off, and he was like, "It feels like you're giving me notes. I don't even let Robert Downey Jr. give me notes." So he's like, "I'm not going to take notes from you." Okay. Now the interesting part of that is he doesn't even take notes. He wouldn't take notes from like the biggest actors on the Avengers, like in the Marvel movies. I think that's also a revelation that like maybe we didn't know about. I think that's interesting to hear as well.
Yeah,
because it puts into question like what was the set like for the Avengers? If like
that's something that does kind of surprise me. Is like I'm sure the people who hired Josh Whedon had heard things about Josh Whedon about like his behavior on Buffy the Vampire Slayer or like whatever he did leading up to doing the
Justice
Avengers.
League. Or up to the Avengers.
Yeah. Right, before doing Avengers. Like, I'm surprised Disney was like, yeah, we'll put up with that bullshit on our set. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Disney is not the place that, like...
that shit would fly. Or maybe it is. All. Like, I guess, like, honestly...
No, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no way... I mean, again, I don't think it's any, like, shocker that Josh Whedon did one Marvel movie.
Well, did two.
Did he do two?
He did Age of Ultron too.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
He
did their two big, up to that point, he did their two biggest movies.
Maybe like, since Kevin Feige has such tight control over what happens on a Marvel set, like maybe he was under way more control and under the reins, like a lot more than he was on Justice League, where they probably brought him in after Zack Snyder and were just like, please finish the movie for us. Do whatever you have to fucking do to get this movie out. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's
wild shit. But we're not even close to being done with all the shit that came out from this. One of the breakout stars of Bridgerton, I think I'm saying this right, John Page. He played one of the dukes or some shit in that show. We have not watched it. I don't feel like that's a bad thing to say. It's not our cup of tea. So he auditioned for the role of Superman's grandfather in Krypton. Do you know what Krypton was?
Is it a show or a place?
Yeah, sci-fi show.
No.
Okay, so it was on Sci-Fi. It was supposed to be like the prequel to like Superman. It stars Superman's grandfather.
Okay, sure.
It looked interesting. I've never watched it again, but he was going to audition for the role of Superman's grandfather. However, Jeff Johns, who I was telling you about, allegedly said Superman could not have a black grandfather, so he was not cast. There's that. There's then also...
I mean, okay.
I don't know. That's just part of it.
Wait.
Here we go.
Would it have been the same, like, universe? It would have been the same, like, continuity as Henry Cavill's?
Fuck no.
Okay, then, yeah, who cares?
Exactly.
It's dumb.
It's really dumb. Is it dumb that, like, they wouldn't cast him, or is it dumb that that's even a story? I think it's dumb that
both, really?
I think it's dumb that they wouldn't even consider it. Like, I'm sorry, it's sci-fi, and it's, like, a sci-fi show. Like, yeah, do something kind of different, like go in a different direction.
I guess. I mean, when was this? This would have been like
2018.
fucking shocked in 2018. Like
Yeah.
that was even a conversation.
Yeah.
Usually it's like the other way around. It's like, yes, of course, cast the black guy to be like,
Yeah.
subvert whatever.
Ray Fisher says he didn't want to say booyah as it seemed weird to have the only black character say a catchphrase. When he did the scene, Whedon said a Hamlet line in a mocking tone. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you.
That's just awesome.
Dude, he's a dick.
That's just fucking hilarious.
No, so we got to dive a little bit more into this one as well. Like, oh, we do. So he was
Is that from when I hip checked you the other night?
Yeah, you jerk. It really hurts sometimes too.
Sorry.
So he didn't want to do that scene. He didn't want to say booyah, which I guess I never realized that Cyborg never says booyah in the comics. He only has ever said it in the animated series.
I was about to say, I'm for sure he says it in the.
Yeah, and that's where it got popular. Is
if the character's super yeah, I don't see a problem with having that in the movie.
I think and this is where it gets weird. So he said that he felt it was weird that he'd be the only character who had a catchphrase because nobody else has a catchphrase in this movie. So it's
Aquaman did.
What is his fucking catchphrase?
He goes, "My man."
That's not a catchphrase.
No, okay. If that's not a catchphrase, then there's booyah.
Booyah is because it came from the show, and that's literally the only reason that they want it. Here, and I'll get to my point, and then let's have the conversation.
This is dumb.
No,
this is stupid.
It is stupid, but listen.
Okay.
So he didn't want to do it. They kind of pushed back, and he was like, "No." And then he thought this thing was settled. Mm-hmm. He then got a call from an executive at Warner Brothers, and was like, "Hey, have dinner with me." And he was like, "All right, bet." Goes and has dinner with him.
They had a fucking dinner over this?
It gets better.
What the fuck?
He gets I actually have to pull up the part of the fucking article where it talks about this because I do not want to mess this up. I want to get this 100% accurate of what happened. Okay, with reshoots underway, Fisher says Whedon praised the issue again. Jeff tells me Cyborg has a catchphrase, he told him. Fisher says he expressed his objections and it seemed the matter was dropped. Until Berg, the co-chairman of DC Films and a producer on the project, took him to dinner. Quote, "This is one of the most expensive movies Warner's has ever made," Berg said, according to Fisher.
You're going to say what the fuck we want you to say.
Better than that. What if the CEO of AT&T has a son or daughter, and that son or daughter wants Cyborg to say booyah in the movie, and we don't have a take of that? I could lose my job. Fisher responded that he knew if he filmed the line, it would end up in the movie. And he expressed skepticism that the film's fate rested on Cyborg saying booyah. He then shot it, and of course they fucking used it.
Yeah, of course.
But Berg literally put it on well, what if the CEO's son really wants to hear booyah in the movie, and we don't have a shot of it? That's what that's literally the reasoning he gave.
Do you think that was true? That seems like it was something that was true.
No, 100%. There's some small child who watched the fucking animated show and was related to the CEO of AT&T and was like, "I want to hear booyah," and they made this guy fucking say the line.
That's actually really fucking awesome.
That's really fucking funny and really stupid. It's
really
dumb that
it's unfortunate that it was Ray Fisher who I can't.
I agree with you that it's hey it's a fucking line, but
yeah.
If your actor is hey, I don't think it's a great idea, I really don't want to do it. I think it's one of those things where you should probably just be yeah, maybe we just don't want to do it. I don't know. Because the line in the movie when you see it,
you're on a fine line between cool. Being accommodating to your actor and then letting your actor dictate what his performance is going to be. The actor is not there to write the lines and to write the story and to develop the character. He's literally a fucking puppet. I
think you are there a little bit to develop who the character is, especially in these types of movies where any movie you have to kind of dive into who that character is and have.
Sure, if you're Robert Downey Jr., you're one of these huge stars. Yeah. Sure, I mean you're kind of developing the ethos behind the character, but when you're Ray Fisher, this guy's not. That's another thing I don't get about this. He has been he's been bitching the most about everything that's happened on set, and he is
because I think he does. I think he has not the right to, but he's justified a little bit in the fact that like the movie that he filmed to begin with, even if you want to say like it wasn't a full cut whenever Zack Snyder stepped away, he was much more integral into the overall movie. And then Whedon came in and drastically cut back his story arc, his time on screen, everything that had to do with that character. And so, yeah, I think like legitimately, if he feels that Whedon did that because he didn't like him, or like he like was at odds with him, like yeah, he has every right to be pissed off.
I know, but like I think for the most part he has been justified in like the complaints that he's aired. But again, at some point, for depending on how long you carry this out, you're just going to sound like a whiny, self-absorbed actor who like got mistreated on set. Or
I think you do, but like I think if it was like a one-off for the director, if this was like out of character for this guy and like other people were coming out like saying like, well, it's not really like him to do that type of thing, like we don't really know what Fisher's talking about here. That's not the case here. Like all evidence points to like Joss Whedon being a dickhole and Warner Brothers being complicit in covering up the majority of it.
Sure.
And so I think that's the major problem here is.
But he's being super petty. Like even
I don't think I'd call it petty. I think I would call it.
I think it. I mean,
almost. I don't know. I don't know what the right word would be.
What do you say?
Vengeful.
A little bit, but like to even go to the length of like disclosing a private dinner the co-chairman of DC had with you, and like revealing.
Well, okay. And here's the other part of it, like. Do you not feel like you need to defend yourself if like the company is like literally throwing shit out all the time too? Like they've put out a bunch of statements against him as well.
Yeah, but he definitely started it. Like,
well, okay, I think that then goes back to them letting Whedon do what he did is what really started it. But
sure, but like how many actors get their scenes cut and like get mistreated on set? Like,
but does that make it okay? Like it's
no. What I'm saying is like Ray Fisher brought this out into the public and brought it like.
Okay, you're right there.
So like of course Warner Brothers is going to come and like react to that.
Oh shit! What was the other thing that I was going to talk about with this whole fucking thing?
Like I just don't get what Ray Fisher like. Is his goal here to like make sure that Josh Whedon doesn't get another job? Because like it could very well be that Ray Fisher never gets another job and
he's still working.
Josh Whedon is just fine.
I don't know the other stuff I was going to say. No, I think his ultimate goal is to get the true story of what happened out, and I don't think.
Yeah, but like to what end? Like what is just for the sake of people knowing what happened on set of Justice League originally?
Yeah, to have a full picture of what was going on with Warner Brothers, and I think to a certain extent to get other actors the full picture so that they don't end up working with Warner Brothers, so that like they look at what's happened and say like, hey, we don't want to work with that bullshit company, which is not going to ever happen because there's going to be some actor who's going to be like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I'll get on screen. Hell yeah. Like,
right.
It's just too much of a competitive field for that ever to have happen. But I think, I don't know how this continues per se. Like, I think this is almost like the end of the line for this particular story. Because at the end of the day, like, what else is there to say here? Like,
there's really not. I mean, like, at this point, it is like newsworthy that there was this exchange between Gal Gadot and Josh Whedon. Like that.
Supposedly, he got into it with Jason Momoa too. Supposedly, he said some weird shit to Momoa, and they wouldn't like disclose what that was.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like this stuff is newsworthy, but at some point, it's like, we're gonna get tired of this shit. Like, just
I'm tired of it now.
Move on for real.
I'm just tired of the whole freaking thing at this point. Like, either green light.
Yeah, like everyone got what they wanted. Like, the Snyder cuts out. Ray Fisher got way more, screen time.
There is an interesting bit in here where it says that Warner Brothers contends that Zack Snyder actually used Ray Fisher to get the Snyder cut out. That like everything like that was coming out in tweets and shit was like Zack Snyder manipulating.
Who at Warner Brothers has been saying that?
Just like sources.
Sources have said that.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers...
and that's in this is basically them saying like, he was manipulated by Snyder, and he categorically denies it. And it says, oh, here it is. By late June 2020, Fisher went public with his dissatisfaction at what he viewed as Warner's inaction. For their part, Warner's sources contend that Fisher was being manipulated by Snyder, who hoped to reclaim control of the DC film universe. Fisher says that, quote, the assertion that a black man would not have his own agency is just as racist as their conversations Warner's leadership was having about the Justice League reshoots. I've been underestimated at every turn in this process, and that is what has led us to this point. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a whole lot of shit. I would encourage anybody, if they're interested in this story, to go read the Hollywood Reporter profile, I guess, article, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. There's a lot in there. There's a bit about Jeff Johns basically saying, like, he shouldn't have to take notes on black women's hair because he understands their struggles because he was married to a black woman and now is married to an Asian American.
Wait, who's Jeff Johns again?
He's a comic book writer. Hold on, let me see what his actual fucking.
Is he in for DC?
Yes.
Okay.
He's huge.
Who's he taking notes on about black?
I'll get to that in a second. Jeff involvement with DC Entertainment as producer, writer, and executive as whatever. Yeah, he was an executive at DC for a really long time. But like the debate on him is so divided because like a lot of people are like, he does great comic book work, and they're like, well, he's a shithead. Anyways, here it is. Among them was writer. So several sources who spoke to Fisher around this time were willing to talk to a Warner's investigator. Among them was writer Nadria Tucker, who tweeted February 24th, I haven't spoken to Jeff Johns since the day on Krypton when he tried to tell me what is and is not a black thing. Tucker tells THR that Johns objected when a black female character's hairstyle was changed in scenes that took place on different days. I said, and this being Tucker, black women, we tend to change our hair frequently. It's not weird. It's a black thing, she says. And he said, no, it's not.
Oh, my God.
Jones' spokesperson says, this is where it gets great. What were standard continuity notes for a scene are being spun in a way that are not only personally offensive to Jeff, but to the people that know who he is, know the work he's done, and know the life he lives, as Jeff has personally seen firsthand the painful effects of racial stereotypes concerning hair and other cultural stereotypes. Having been married to a black woman who he was with for a decade, and with his second wife who is Asian American, as well as his son who is mixed race.
Okay.
It's literally just being like, yeah, I've got two black friends. Like, hey, I'm not racist. Like,
well, but like, I mean, if that case in of itself, like, if he was like, hey, we're shooting like, like we want the character to have the same fucking hair, so it's not like confusing, or it's like if there is continuity between these scenes, like that's perfectly reasonable.
It is, but I don't think he came at it that way. She was talking about how like black women wear their hair and how it's culturally relevant to not have it.
Well, that's how she's spinning it. That's how that's from her point of view.
I'm just saying, like, that's how it's been painted. And then he even says, the person says, has personally seen firsthand the painful effects of racial stereotypes concerning hair and other cultural stereotypes. Him saying concerning hair makes me think that there's a little bit of nugget of truth there. That like something like that legitimately happened where she was like, yeah, it's not that different or not that weird to have like different hair on different days. And he was like, no, it's not. And I don't know if that comes from a place of like really worrying about continuity or like him thinking he understands black culture more than this woman did. That's where it gets really fucking gray and really fucking weird.
I'm not gonna like
dive in. Yeah, I don't want to
put too much stock into like this he said she said type.
I don't either, but like anytime you have to come out and say you've been married to a black woman, it doesn't look great.
Does not look good.
Does not look good at all. Like that's not the first defense.
Unless you're Grover, then that's okay.
What? Is that a joke he does?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, cool. Anywho, like I said, go check it out. It's on the Hollywood Reporter. Just type in Ray Fisher. You'll find it in an instance. There's probably going to be tons more of them. But Ryan, you ready to jump into Nobody?
Let's do it.
What is this movie about, Ryan? I'm going to go grab something. Do you need anything from downstairs?
No, I'm good. You're
Okay.
gonna leave me.
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll pull up the synopsis for Nobody so I don't do a bundled mess of it real fast. No. Okay. So Hutch Mansell fails to defend himself or his family when two thieves break into a suburban home one night. The aftermath of the incident soon strikes a match to his long simmering rage. In a barrage of fists, gunfire, and squealing tires, Hutch must now save his wife and son from a dangerous adversary, ensure that he will never be underestimated again. It doesn't fucking actually say what it's about really at all. It's not a good. It kind of.
Let me see it. Let me see it. Like, because it just really gives it like.
So this basically is like.
Yeah, because like it doesn't really say like long simmering rage doesn't like paint the picture of what
exactly
really is
happened.
going on with him. Yeah.
So basically, what happens is this guy is just like a suburban dad. There's nothing like unusual about him really. And then one night, two like thieves break into his house, and like they confront the thieves. Him and his son like confront them, and like he's got the drop on one, just like fucking smack the shit out of her with a golf club. But eventually, like the thieves just run away. And there's like this kind of trope throughout the movie where like his wife and his neighbors and the cops and like his coworkers are like, "Oh, you're not like, what I would have done is like beat the shit out of him.
You're not man enough.
You're not a real man.
I would have kicked them.
Yeah, I would have defended my wife and children."
Yeah.
But it turns out this motherfucker was like an assassin for the U.S. government.
Yeah.
And so he's been living like this normal life because he very John Wickian. He fell in love and like wanted to leave.
Well, I don't think he fell in love. I think it was like he saw somebody who like
he wanted to fall in love.
Yeah, he like
really what happened.
He wanted to get out, and he was able to get out.
Right, he wanted to get out and have like a normal life, so he did that. But when this like incident happened, he just kind of like lost control.
Yeah,
and one of the things he does, he first like tries to find the thieves, and he's gonna like I guess beat the shit out of the thieves. But
yeah,
these two people were like doing this because they have a very sick child. And they're very poor.
They're poor, and they have a baby who like is obviously very sick, and
right.
And I like that giving the people that kind of set him off a justification for like what they were doing. Like I thought that was a really cool,
because
bit of storytelling.
Because they're not really all that important to the story. Like they're the catalyst for setting him off, but like this was like simmering beneath the surface for a long time.
But it's good that it was just like. Not, a thug broke into his house, and they only broke into his house because they were thugs type of deal. Like,
no,
it's legit. Like, no, they were poor and they had a baby, and like they're just trying to provide.
Right. And so, anyways, he like after he confronts the thieves in their home, he's on the way back to his home.
I guess we should say spoilers for.
I guess I haven't really.
Yeah. Well,
all this is in the trailers thus far.
True. Yeah, but maybe mild spoilers.
Spoilers from here on out. So he gets on the bus. He's like, for some reason, like traveling by bus everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Metro card looked like it was New York.
Yeah, well, I'm not in New Jersey.
Yeah, New York, New Jersey. So I guess he would.
Because he wasn't like in New York. It definitely wasn't New York.
Yeah, but he didn't have a car, but his wife did. So I guess.
Yeah, but he did have a car that like. The car that he just went and got in before he stole the other car, like he did have a car.
Yeah, that was his wife. That's the one that the wife took to work.
I thought his wife had like a SUV or something. He got in there was a sedan parked in the street, and he like got in the sedan. I don't know. Yeah, it's really not important.
Yeah, not at all.
So he gets on the bus and
plot holes.
The bus is like going along, and all of a sudden this Land Rover like drives up next to the bus and like wrecks into this construction area.
They just leave the car there.
Yeah, and then they just stumble out of the car, and they're like, "Oh, there's a fucking bus!
Let's get on the bus, pretty lady. Let's fuck with the pretty lady."
So the Russians get on the bus. Hutch beats the shit out of him.
And not only just like not like a 30-second like quick beat up, like it's a good 5 to 10 minute like.
Well, he got fucked on too.
Yeah, like ass kicking.
This wasn't like a one-sided ass kicking scene. This was like both of them, like each side.
They both took some damage. Here.
Everyone from each side probably should have ended up in the hospital.
Which all the Russians, 5 or 6 of them do.
All the Russians did.
Yeah.
So, but then it turns out that the Russians. One of the Russians is the brother to like this fucking lead mafia Russian dude.
Which, okay, back up real fast. The thing that scene really does well at the very end of that, where like he's kicking the shit out of everybody, and it's important because it's the guy that like is the brother of the Russian leader.
Oh yeah,
is like he had I guess kicked him or
no, he had
done the thing to the thing, and it was to his neck and
broke his trachea.
Yeah, he broke his trachea, and he's like. And it
suffocates to death.
Yeah, it's a great moment to show like Hutch's humanity and like that he's not fully untethered from, not being a psychopath. Like he's not like a bloodless killer. Like he goes over and like cuts his neck open and like puts a straw in and like basically gives him a chance to live. Like he doesn't want these people to die. Like I thought that was a really.
He just wanted to kick the crap out of him.
Yeah, he just wanted to show them that hey, maybe don't mess with this woman. But I thought that was just a great way to show like hey. He's not irredeemable. Like he is still
he's
a
not
good
like a
guy.
pure psychopath.
Exactly.
Right. And so, anyways, what was the like main Russian?
Valuya.
What?
Val. Just call him Val.
Hold on. Let's find out for sure.
Nobody. IMDb.
I got it. Hold on.
Julian.
Yep. All right, Julian. So, I think did they ever say did the brother die for sure?
Yeah,
Okay, so the brother died, and now now it's on basically. So
this dude's a psychopath. Like this guy's actually crazy.
Fucking crazy. Yeah. So he's now after Hutch, and like that's when the craziness ensues, and I don't know. Where do you want to pick up?
No, I think this was a very well done, kind of basic action movie, but the supporting cast of this was really, really cool. Like having Christopher Lloyd be his dad,
right?
And Christopher Lloyd being the dad, be like an ex-FBI agent who also is like kind of a badass.
Yeah, also just a trained killer.
Yeah, like that was super cool. Like I really enjoyed.
And then I think it was kind of implied that his brother was like kind of in the same line of work that he had with the government, but for some reason his brother was in hiding.
Yeah, he was in hiding for some reason, and then like spoiler, but like you kind of see this coming halfway through. Like he pops up to save his ass at the very end during like the climax of the movie.
Right.
And they have this really sick like shootout at the very end of the movie.
Completely implausible, but
whatever. This is 100% what this movie is. It's just like it's a fun shoot 'em up like action movie that just has no stakes whatsoever.
Like so, I was a little disappointed because I thought because I think it was the same producer and or director of John Wick, but I thought what's up?
It's the same producer. The director also did Hardcore Henry. I don't know if you remember that one.
The fuck is that?
It was one of those movies. It was literally just like this again shoot 'em up type thing, but it was all first person like point of view.
Is that the thing that came out last year?
No, it came out 2015.
What's the thing that came out like a couple years ago that was first person? Maybe that was it.
I think it was this because it looked really interesting. I never saw it, but
anyways, so I thought it might like kind of play into the same universe as John Wick, like somehow because we've kind of wanted that like backstory and that like John Wick universe to kind of get played out because there's this whole like underworld of assassins.
Yeah.
And I was hoping like somehow maybe he'd be like the
bridge,
the antithesis to that. Somehow there's like government assassins or somehow like, this like parallel to the underground, like black market assassin group. But it wasn't that at all. And like, John Wick is like the action and everything is so grounded in like they work really hard to keep things like grounded in reality and like
Yeah.
really, really like everything he does. Like you could imagine someone who's a trained killer actually doing.
Yeah.
And then like in this movie, in the climax scene, like he sets up this labyrinth of like death traps in his warehouse, and it's like, okay, this is not
realistic.
This is not realistic at all.
No, I think the problem with that is like in John Wick, you're working with Keanu Reeves, who obviously like is really skilled at the choreography and the gun work, whatever you want to call that. So he's like a master at all of that. And Bob Odenkirk is a great actor, but he's just not good at the choreography of like fight scenes. And so,
I mean,
it's hard to like compare the two. He does a good job. It's just like there's no comparison of like who's better. It's obviously Keanu Reeves. So you have a slight step up there, and you kind of see that because at the end of the movie, there's no real like fight scene. It's all just shooting, and like you said, booby traps going on.
Booby traps, yeah,
and him like hitting.
I don't know. I just thought like they didn't need to have like an expertly trained jiu-jitsu artist and like gunsmith dude to like make this seem a little bit more plausible. Yeah, like the fact that he stole his neighbor's car, and like the one like fucking crazy thing is like he catches his house on fire and like nonchalantly strolling out of his house and then steals his neighbor's car
in front of all the other neighbors.
In front of all his neighbors, goes like on a driving spree, not that far from his fucking house, and then like drives back to the fucking like his place of work. Like, and there's no cops like whatsoever in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Like never, like no one's ever clued in. Not until like the end of the scene at the warehouse where he's killed all the Russians. Do the like cops finally show up?
Like the FBI shows up.
Yeah, and then like supposedly someone calls in and is like, "Hey, just let this guy go." Like in no fucking world would any of those series events happen.
Would they have been cool with that?
Right. At least in John Wick, like everything is like there's some explanation for the fact that like he's able to get out of situations without being detected by like police or whatever.
Well, and I think like the better comparison would be like for this is to Barry, because like Barry is starring a comedian who turns like kind of a serious role with a little bit of that comedic flair, and he plays an assassin. But like even Bill Hader does like a really good job with the gunsmith work and like those scenes, and so. And there are moments in that where it's like bullshit he would have gotten out of that. Like he would not have, like the scene, I think it was when he like kills the dojo instructor guy in the grocery store.
Oh yeah, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, like the Mongoose episode.
Right.
So like there's those types of things where it's just like, yeah, whatever. But like you kind of do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
I'm not saying it's
hard to do that up to a point. I definitely get that.
Right. There, I mean, like there was a few times where like the kind of ridiculousness of the situations drew you out of the storyline just a little bit.
Yeah.
But in no way did it like diminish my enjoyment of the film.
No.
It's just like it's a very small critique.
No, for sure.
Especially like when you compare it to the best of the best in the John Wick movies.
No, this is a really cool movie. Do you think there are going to be a sequel to this? They kind of set it up.
Probably. I mean, in today's like,
I bet they do something. I bet they do some.
Well, how's the box office been for it? Like,
it didn't have. I don't think it cost that much money.
And apparently, like, what's the dude's name? Bob
Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk like put in 2 years of training for this movie. So
seriously,
it'd be a shame if like they didn't bring him back to do some kind of sequel.
Okay, yeah. So the box office so far, 21.3 million.
That's not bad.
Against a budget of 16 million.
Oh shit! I mean, they made money.
Yeah, so they're definitely gonna make another one.
Okay.
Which like I think that'd be cool. Like I think it'd be really interesting to see. Like,
that's like it would have been so cool if they had like integrated into the John Wick world, because then like you could have, had cameos in like the next John Wick movie.
Yeah,
and then...
but they're doing like that whole hotel thing, like that hotel movie, a hotel show. Like the Hotel Continental.
Oh, they're making a TV show out of it?
Yeah, I think it's on FX.
That'd be cool.
So, yeah. What would you give this on a Jindo Max Head rating, Ryan?
Definitely a 4 out of 5 Genomax heads.
Okay, I'm gonna go 3.75 out of 5.
Okay, I was like going back and forth between
Yeah, I think it's very basic. I would say
like your
kind of
mama.
That's Ryan. We love our mother.
Same.
Very to the numbers, but great action. Really cool, like supporting characters.
Hilarious fucking antagonist. Like we didn't talk at all about how. Well, maybe like not spoil this, but there's some very funny scenes with the.
Oh yeah, no, he's great
in the club and whatnot.
Yes. So yeah, definitely go check that out. It's in theaters right now. You can go see it on VOD as well. I would highly recommend it. But we are very excited to premiere our interview with the director of an Oscar-nominated short film called The Letter Room, starring Oscar Isaacs. You can check it out on Vimeo. It's called The Letter Room. Go watch it. You can even go see all 5 of the live-action short film nominees at select theaters throughout the nation. So definitely do that if you are interested. It is Elvira Lind. And that was Elvira Lind. We really want to thank her for coming on and taking the time to chat with us. It was super cool getting to speak with her about prison reform, kind of.
Yeah, for the most part.
I think that's something that you definitely should take a look at, even though we've got like a million things that we freaking need to work on in this country.
Well, Biden's just
he's chugging along.
Full steam ahead, baby.
Yeah, just gonna spend a lot of money on infrastructure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely check out her short film, The Letter Room. Like I said, available on Vimeo. But everybody, this is episode 91, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
We are very close.
Same age as our grandmother and our Gendo.
Yes, this is the Max episode.
Yes.
Max, you want to come say hi?
We actually accidentally missed Max's birthday the other day.
Yeah, by a couple days. So
yeah, I can never remember when it is.
Yeah, because you're a terrible dog owner.
It's the 3rd, right? It's the 2nd. It's the 2nd.
Jesus Christ, Ryan! You just looked at it.
It's the 2nd.
Whatever, man. Everybody, thank you guys for listening to this episode. Be sure to check out our 100th episode here in about a month. We're going to have some extra special people on it. Have a roundtable kind of conference with some people, some former guests. It's going to be great.
We have one invitation accepted so far.
It's 2 people, 1 invitation. So we've got a couple of people already booked on it. We're trying to get some more for it, so it should be pretty cool. But always remember to check out the Instagram at Furloughed Film Talks, Twitter at Furloughed Film. We live stream Monday or Tuesday nights and every Thursday night. So be sure to check that out.
Or Fridays, or
you never know.
Tuesday, whenever.
But be sure to tell 3 of your friends about the show. We greatly appreciate it. And have a good rest of your week.
Adios, amigos. Oh, so good.